Hi, everyone. This is Gayle. Welcome to my live stream tonight. It's Saturday night at 7:30, and we are here streaming. I'm a couple of minutes late, so please don't fuss at me. I've had all kinds of problems getting online tonight. It's been a little nuts, so please bear with me. Please, please, please. So, tonight is just a general chat night. I'm going to talk to you about some of the travel prep that I've been doing. I'm also going to show you a crochet shawl that I made. You all have helped me out with that so much. Your encouragement, your tips, your suggestions, because this is a craft that you can do when you're on the road. Because sometimes, I know with me, it's late at night, but my head is spinning, and I just want to, kind of craft a little bit and unwind. But we had that live stream, and you guys gave me some great ideas for crafts that you could do on the road, that you can do with traveling. And that has been so helpful. You're exactly how I've been able to get this done. And then when I got stuck, you all were there encouraging me, just being your awesome selves. And I know, were it not for a few of you, like I was able to crochet a doll for grandbaby. Typical Nona thing to do, right? But without y'all's help, when I got stuck, I would never, ever, ever have been able to finish that. So y'all have been huge. So give yourself a round of applause. Thank you all for that. So I am streaming through YouTube Studio tonight. I very rarely stream. So if I miss a comment, just like, I don't know, wave your hand or something like that. I am trying to follow everything. Women's Station Channel is in the house. Hi, Lori. Welcome. It is good to see you. So you all, thank you so much. And the other thing that I want to tell you about is my dot card came in. I mentioned, I guess, I'm not sure where I mentioned it, but I've gotten several questions about it. Like, what is a dot card and how do you use it? And, oh, I know, I was talking to people at a workshop I went to the other day. I really confused a few people about the dot card. So I'm probably going to do a little shorts just on the dot card so I can talk about what it is and how it works. But it makes life a little bit easier. I'm into making life easier. So that's what we're going to kind of talk about tonight. And if y'all have any questions about this Memo Pet dog training collar, I'm also happy to answer those. I know a couple of you all have had questions about it. So I'm going to talk about that and how you can use it for travel too. So, Lori, welcome. I hope you're having a great weekend. I see we've got a couple of other people who've joined us. So thank you all for joining us and popping in. Dive on over to the chat when you have a moment. Please don't forget to give me a thumbs up on the live stream because that really helps with those mean old YouTube algorithms. So which do you all want to talk about first? How about the shawl? Shall we talk about the shawl first? Okay, that's what we'll do. And also, you suggested trying some loom knitting. So guess what? I've been doing some of that too. But unfortunately, fortunately, I don't have any of that work to show you because the loom knitted hats that I've made have all gone to people. They've gone to a food pantry. They've gone to a homeless shelter. Actually, a couple of homeless shelters now. So I just did the last batch of 18 that I just did. There were a few given out through church, and then the rest were taken over to a homeless shelter. So I don't have any of those to show you, but that's certainly one of the crafts that I could do on the road. Thanks to you all and your encouragement, because I could not have done this without you. So I've got this shawl that I started, and I'm sorry, that I finished, and then I've got another one that I started, and I was going to show that to you all. Hey, Candy, the wee service dog, is in the house. Huge supporter in so many ways. She is a channel member, and she has really been encouraging on the loom knitting and on the crochet and everything else. Just really super encouraging person. So thank you both. Lori, you are too. Thank you both. So the story is on the shawls. I wanted to try the loom knitting first. I did some crochet when I was a kid, so I was kind of somewhat familiar with it. And then I put it aside. And then later in life, I did some crocheting of Afghans because I said something one day to my husband, and he was like, "Oh, you don't know anything about crocheting an Afghan." So we got in this car, we went to the store, we bought yarn, and I made some Afghans. And he was like, "Oh, I guess you do." Funny though, something similar came up later in life when it had to do with making jewelry. And I said something to my daughter. We were looking at jewelry, and I said something to her. It's my younger one. She was in high school at the time. And I said, you can make that for a lot less money. And she was like, "Oh, you don't know the first thing about making jewelry." And when we got back home and told my husband, he didn't say a word. He just picked up his keys and said, "Get in the car." And she's like, "Where are we going?" And he said, "Your mom's going to probably go buy jewelry supplies. She'll show you." And he's right. That's exactly what we did. So I put it aside for a while, but I only really knew how to do a couple of stitches. I could do a double crochet, a chain, and a single crochet. And that was the sum of my knowledge. And then, like, if you don't do things after a while, you forget how to do it. So with y'all's encouragement, I kind of picked it back up. I'm picking it up with the loom knitting. So I have made a couple of Afghans, small Afghans. And then I made this shawl. And I wish now that I'd gotten a different color and done it in black, but tan's what was on sale. So here's this shawl. And I'm trying to decide if I want to put a fringe on it or not. Let me kind of tilt that this way. So there it is. Woo! And this is only a double crochet and basically chains. Triple crochet and double crochet with a couple of chain stitches. So it was super easy. And here it is. It comes down, it's way low in the back. So I'm going to be sitting on it some, but that's okay. And I guess I could just bunch it, like show, and maybe put like one of those scarf loops on it that you used to have. I don't know if they still have those. I'm suddenly feeling very old-fashioned. If they don't have those, I guess I could use maybe a child's wooden bracelet and just gather it up like that. So that's that. And then the other shawl is with yarn that my younger daughter bought for me. It's really kind of a special yarn because sorry, I about sneezed. I didn't want to. It's really kind of a special yarn because it goes back to sheep that have been raised in New Mexico. That lineage dates back to the first sheep in the New World. So it goes back that far. And she bought it for me. It's hard to get. It's a little expensive, but she got it. And then I had to go and buy some more yarn to finish the project. So that's been a really The instructions for it said it was easy and it was a beginner crochet piece, but I really think they lied because I've had a lot of trouble with it. But I'm getting it. I'm getting it. So hopefully next week I'll have the last 3 or 4 rows done and be able to show that to you. Now, my daughter bought different colors, so the scarf is in different colors, but that's okay. We'll go with it, right? So, yeah. So, y'all have gotten me back into the crochet, and I'm looking forward really to doing it in the evenings and stuff when I'm out traveling. So, let's see. Laurel is saying something over here. I don't want to miss it. And yeah, I am going to leave this on my shoulders because it's a little bit cool in here. Okay, Candy says you can make preemie baby hats with the smallest loom. Hospitals really can use those in NICU. Actually, I looked into that, and what I found out is that hospitals don't want loom knitted hats for the most part. I don't know why. I didn't see anything on there that told me why. I was a little frustrated with that. But use it is what it is. I hate that term, but there's nothing I can do about it. And they also don't want any chenille yarn. So no chenille and no loom knit hats. And I don't know why. So if somebody listening to this later knows why, then drop that down in the comments because I would really love to know. It's a little confusing. Candy says, Gayle, you can make a prayer shawl. It can be a rectangle. They can be 18-inch by 2 feet. That's cool. I will check into that. Let me make one of my world famous notes about that to check into it because I think that would be fun. And you said the prayer shawl. Wait a minute. Okay. Prayer shawl, 18-inch by 2 feet. Cool. I got that down. That would be something that I would be interested in working with and doing. So cool. Thank you for that idea. I appreciate that because this is something I want to keep up, but there's only so many crochet projects you really can use, So, all right. So, okay, so that's where we are on the crochet, and y'all encouraged me about this, and I appreciate it quite a bit. So, thank you all. Okay. So the other thing that I wanted to talk to y'all about is the dot card. And so I don't know if y'all have heard about the dot cards, but a lot of people are using these instead of using paper cards when they go out places and stuff. So what it is, let me see if I can. Oh, I can't share. I'm on YouTube, and I don't know how to share from YouTube Studio. Hey, busy lady, how are you? So I have to learn if you even can share. I forgot about that. Oh, there is a share screen option. Cool. Okay, in that case, let me pull up the dot card. And it's really a pretty cool thing. I don't know if it's going to completely replace paper business cards at this point, but it's really, really cool. So what you do is when you have, hey, I'm glad you're good. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. Better anyway. Doing a family meeting soon. Wanted to stop by. Ooh, I hope your family meeting goes well. So good luck there. Hope it goes well. And y'all, if you come by later and you're listening on the replay, and if you're here in the chat, please give me a thumbs up. Please don't forget to do that. I often forget to ask. So if y'all would do that, that'd be great. So the dot card, I don't know if it's really going to replace paper cards, but it's a really cool thing, and I've shared my information. several times now when I didn't have a paper card with me and it was just more convenient. So what it is it's a card that you just slip into the back of your phone. I have a clear case so you all can see it. So at least I think you all can. There you go. You should be able to see that one now. So it goes on in between your phone and your case. And then all you do when somebody wants some information from you, whether it's your profile, your blog, your Instagram, email, phone, whatever, all they have to do is tap their phone to this. And the neat thing about it is, even if you don't have a paper business card with you and you don't have a piece of paper you can write everything down with and on, most of the time you've got your cell phone, right? So it's just a matter of phone to phone, tap. And if for any reason that doesn't work or they don't have that capability on their phone, they do not need a special app. Let me tell you that. No special app for the dot card. But if for any reason that doesn't work for the tap, then it's also got a QR code on it that they can scan. And that will take you to the profile right there. And I'm sharing. I'm so happy. Okay. So there's my profile with all my stuff on it. So there you go. And it's even got PayPal and whatnot on there. So what they do is they would tap their phone to my phone. This comes up, and then all they would do is hit save contact. And boom, all of that information on their phone. So it's really, really simple. And I was able to get this dot card for a lot cheaper than a box of business cards cost me. And because I already had it handy when somebody asked for it, it was really cool because this person bought a jacket off of my Amazon store because I was wearing it. Oh, you only saw a black screen. Ah! No, don't tell me that. Thomas More got a black screen too. Technology. Yes, you're right. It is. It's crazy. And hi, Thomas More Trains is in the house. Hello and welcome. Welcome, welcome. So yeah, there you go. That's the dot card and how it works. And they had it on sale when I got the dot card. So it wound up costing like $18. I don't know what it is now. I'm going to assume it's probably that. Let me see. I would try screen sharing, but it didn't work, you all said a few minutes ago. So we're not going to try that again. That's a lie. We might. Dot cards. How much are you now? Networking made simple. Okay. All right. So if I log in, it will tell me. Now, if I log in, it takes me to my profile. Okay. Anyway, so I paid about $18. The box of business cards, last time when I got them, that cost me $30. And the frustrating thing is, and this, let me tell you, this is not sponsored, okay? I just think it's been a really helpful, really cool thing. The problem with paper cards is that every time a URL changes, you have to get new business cards. So like my Instagram was hacked a couple of years ago. So I had to reopen that account, new business cards. Twitter became X, new business cards. So there you go. I was an ambassador for a clothing line a couple of years ago, and that was a great partnership, but they either, I don't remember now if they went out or if they were bought out by somebody else. I quit being an ambassador for them though, and that meant new business cards. With the dot card, I just go online and update it. It doesn't matter. I don't have to spend more money on business cards, which I think is really cool. So somebody asked me about that. So there we go. That's how it is with the dot cards. Okay. Not complicated. I love things that are not complicated. Unlike YouTube, which gets complicated sometimes, right? With the notifications and the black screens that we don't want to see. So yeah. So let me pop in here. Busy Lady's asking, how is Pipsy? Pipsy is doing okay. I did find out kind of a backwards thing that we're not going to be getting a replacement service dog in March. That was one of the classes. In fact, the agency had mentioned March, but I got back in touch with them, and they're a little slow to respond because she just stays swamped all the time. But when I asked her what the class dates are for this year, so I can go ahead and block those time periods off on my husband's calendar, she came back and she said class dates are in June, August, and then there's going to be some in the fall. But she didn't mention the March class. So that tells me that the March class, I don't have to worry about. I'm not involved with. So hopefully that'll happen in June. So we'll see. In the meantime, he's doing okay. He's still sometimes a little slow to move around. If you all saw the video I did about the training collar demo, you saw that he's not the fastest all the time on the playground, but he's out there. He still enjoys it. He's still liking it. He just doesn't always move fast, and there's just nothing I can do about it. So when I did the demo, I was just like, he's out there. I'm just not going to worry about trying to make him go really quick, So there you are. So yeah, I appreciate you asking, and I appreciate y'all's prayers about him, because that really helps. It's very comforting and reassuring to know that y'all are there. Let's see. Busy Lady says that she heard there's a paper shortage. Ooh, I did not know that. Do you know, I bet every school student in the U.S. is going to be happy about that, because that's got to mean less homework, right? So, all right. And Candy is telling me that if I double yarn for the baby hats, hospitals don't want the traditional loose loom style hats because babies can entangle their fingers and toes. If you take samples into the hospital, I guess volunteer department, probably the coordinator, because it was truncated. So I'll probably find the other half later in the thing here. I was just looking it up online. There's apparently a major group that supplies a lot of the hospitals. And so a lot of the hospitals are referring you to that group. And then that group is setting the guidelines and stuff. You can still take them into your local hospital, but the hospitals are using the guidelines and whatnot that is set forward by the group. So they're dictating what kinds of hats, whether it's crochet or knitted. They're dictating no loom knit hats, and the different types of yarns that you can use. No chenille, nothing scratchy, which scratchy makes sense. Yeah. And bless her heart, the yarn that my daughter just got me is super thick, and it's very, very warm, but it's also itchy. So I hate that, but that's okay. She bought it for me. She did something nice. I'm going to make a shawl out of it. I'm going to use it. It's all good. Let's see. I hope I said hello to Thomas Moore's Trains. Thomas Moore's Trains, if I didn't say hello to you, that was an oversight, and I'm sorry. Hey, he's getting a new train locomotive, Lionel. So that is cool. Here's the other half of Candy's message. She says you can take samples into the hospital volunteer coordinator. That way they see the hats are weaved tightly together. Yeah, I didn't even get that far. I was hoping to make a bunch of hats to send out to the NICU in honor of my grandbaby's birthday that's coming up in May. We're going to be out there. So I thought, what better thing than when I'm on the road to loom knit some preemie babies' hats? But they're not taking those. They referred me, they're the ones that referred me to this organization. And then I thought, well, darn. So I called another hospital and they did the same, volunteer coordinators did the same thing. So yeah, but I'll still pick away at it and see what they can come up with. Women's Station Channel says she's sorry. I'm sorry you have to wait longer than expected, Gayle, for a new service dog. Me too. I was really hoping we could have this resolved by now. But, they have to find a dog that's going to be suitable for what I need. So that's a little bit bigger dog for the mobility work than what I've got. Pipsie is just not tall enough to really get in there and be a mobility dog like I need, but he's really, really close. The big problem is, of course, the hip and back. So they have to find one that's taller, a little stockier, and is also not just trained for mobility, but one that's going to be more likely to alert for the blood sugar and the seizures now than some of the others. So once they identify a dog that fits all of those parameters, then the dog has to grow. And supposedly I am at the top of the wait list, but the dogs are only going to grow so fast. And you can't rush that along. So I don't know when it's going to be, but I hope June. I hope so. Cross y'all's fingers for it. At least I know the dates so I can block them off. Because I think I told you my goal is to go look at some of the railroading towns, railroading history of some of the counties across Tennessee. And let me tell you, there is a lot more. Now that I'm doing some of the research, there is a lot more railroading history in our state that I gave our state credit for. So I'm really looking forward. And Thomas More, you can probably recite it backwards in your sleep, but this has all been really cool to find out. For me, anyway. Let's see. Hey, Weaves World is in. Hi, Weaves World. It is nice to see you. Thank you for coming in. Oh, Assembly of Excellence podcast is in the house. So yay, thank you. Good to see both of you. Thank you all for coming in. And let's see. Thomas Moore, his birthday is May 16th. That is so cool. My baby's is early May. Early baby, early May. What can I do? Yeah. His Lionel train layout is the original 1950. That's really neat. Okay, Candy says you can create your own volunteer group. That way they will consider your items. You know me, Gayle. I don't take no for an answer. Yay, I might pitch that. I might just pitch that because it's really frustrating. I mean, because, when I'm on the road, I do like to have something to do in the evenings. And especially now that the book is finished, I don't really have anything. So, yeah. So I thought, what better way? But I'll keep plugging away. That's a good idea. Maybe there's somebody, maybe I can go and meet with them. I like that idea too. So we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. It's all right. And I was going to give you an update too, kind of on where I am about the railroad history. And there is so much. Okay. So I found out that Tennessee's largest cities are also had some of the biggest impact was done for them by the railroad history. So like Davidson County, which is out in Nashville, that's the capital of Tennessee, was huge in the development of railroads in the state. And I didn't know that. It was a major transportation hub. I didn't know that. And then Shelby County in Western Tennessee, its largest city is Memphis, and it was an important railroad center. But that's also the home of Casey Jones, and we've talked about him before. He was a famous conductor that wrecked in Mississippi. Songs and so forth have been written to honor him and his bravery. And he was from Jackson, so like there's this whole Casey Jones village in Jackson. And I think Thomas Moore, isn't it you that said you donated a railroad spike or some railroad spikes to be on display down there? So yeah, there's that. So I could easily go from East Tennessee to West Tennessee, and then Northeast Tennessee had railroad history too. They were impacted by the Tweetsie Railroad, and Tweetsie being the pronunciation of an acronym. And then Knox County and Rutherford and so forth, that were big railroad towns. But I also found out that there's a lot, and this is actually what intrigued me, because there's a lot of like really small postage stamp towns that used to have a railroad that were completely booming when the railroad industry was there, that went downhill after the railroad industry left. And I think sometimes it doesn't hurt to be reminded of that there's sometimes a cycle with towns, because we get focused on like the now and how companies, sometimes the factory shuts down, and like over in North Carolina years ago, the textile industry, a lot of the textile mills closed because the work had gone to other countries. But that wasn't the first industry that ever shut down, because we had the railroad industry. And over on the coast, there was the shipbuilding industry that was really big in like the 1700s. And then we had in the 1800s, the railroad was really booming. And then here we were in the 1900s, and the textile industry closed. So I think that it's really going to help us as we go through this history, or at least I hope it'll help us, to look at some of these little towns and how are they surviving now. And for a lot of the towns, they have developed, other businesses have come in, there have been cottage industries, tourism has become a big thing in these towns. For example, Etowah, Tennessee, I used to live close to that, y'all know. They were big in like the early 1900s. That town was built to be a train town, and then it went bust. But while it was booming, they really did a lot of great things for the area. And by golly, they have a Carnegie Library in this little town, because way back in railroad days, the Carnegies decided to invest in that town by setting up a library system. So now the railroad, the L&N and so forth, is gone. And, they have made a museum, the Etowah Railroad Museum, out of this gorgeous 2-story Victorian building. And so now they're hitting tourism, and there's actually a train that runs that's just a sightseeing train that's really, really popular. So that's how the area has compensated. But yeah, there's like tons of places, and like that whole county, like I didn't know that they had all this huge railroading history within the county. But it's been really fascinating to find out. So as I plan some of these videos, I hope you all are going to like them. So yeah, as I plan, I'm learning so much. So much. So there we go. Let me go back to the chat here. Um, let's see. Candy's saying take samples in when I go. That's an excellent idea. I will, and I've got some photos of some of the hats that I've done too. And Thomas More is saying the first 1940 to 1950 locomotive is Lionel Line 726 and the 736 Berkshire locomotives. And then he says Casey Jones is the engineer and Sim Webb is a conductor on the 382 in 1900. And Casey Jones died on April 30, 1900 at 3 a.m. in Vaughn, Mississippi. And he says that Sim Webb is the fireman. And before the crash, Casey told Sim to jump, said, jump, Sim, jump. So he really tried to control that train until the very last second, which is really, lots of bravery there. One other thing too that I thought was interesting, and you may already know about this, Thomas More's trains, but in La Follette was one of the worst train accidents in history. And it's this little tiny town in La Follette, Tennessee. And so I had heard about the wreck, but I didn't realize how big of a wreck and a big problem. I knew it was a big problem, but I didn't know it was one of the worst in history. I had no idea. But basically, a passenger train collided with a freight train, and this was decades ago. But getting to that site, I actually drove over to the site, and getting there is just, you can't. I mean, it's impossible to get to that site like now. I can't begin to imagine what it was like trying to rescue people. It had to be just terrible because, like, the road doesn't even have a pull off so you can see where the site actually was. And there is this little plaque. So, first, you're on the side of a hill. So, you're looking down many feet into this creek area. And then on the side of the creek, up next to the railroad, there's a rock, and somebody has put a bronze plaque on the rock. But there's no place, like the road is not wide enough for you to pull off and see that plaque. So I wound up dropping my husband off and saying, I'll come back and get you in just a minute. So take a photo quick and don't get killed, because he really wanted the photo. But it's just, and huge trees. We're talking about the side of a mountain. I just cannot imagine what it was like. So one of the things when I get to that county is I'm going to have to ask how they did that. So it's just really interesting. And of course, being in the South, we had this stupid racial divide, which even impacted the railroad trains because it impacted everything. So yeah, I won't get started on my thoughts on that. But anyway. And I have to find a way to cover that in my videos without going off. So wish me luck on that one. Just wish me luck. So anyway, that's, kind of the update on some of my plans. And we talked a couple of live streams ago about how I have this long list of notes. So I am making a long list of notes for the upcoming videos for the travels that's coming up. And I'm also going to be writing the articles and putting those on the blog. So if you're not following my blog, it is the Bodacious Broads travelblog.com. Yes, that is a mouthful. But, you can follow me over there. My last post was a few days ago, and it's on packing tips for women over 50. But there's also information on there on like the difference between national parks and national park sites, because that confuses a lot of people. Then there's, ideas for family activities for the new year. That's on there, and a lot of our trivia questions are on there, and how to score last minute deals on holiday travel, and stuff like Christmas in New York City and how to save money on a trip there and so forth. So go and follow it. I'm going to type it in too. And it's the Bodacious Broads travel blog. There we go. And let's see. Thomas Moore is saying, back in 1922, Illinois Central 482 number 2507 derailed off the trestle in Dawson Springs, Kentucky. Yeah. This was a derailment too. So I might look that up. I don't think, let me check and see how far that is from Tennessee. I started to say it's not too far off, like the beaten path, but I think it's kind of further off than I'll be going with this trip. We'll see. I'll look. Right now, I'm still in the research phase. So, what can I do? One thing at a time, right? But, it's something that I think is important, and I'm really glad to be able to do. And if you all have any suggestions of things that you want to see covered as I go through the state, then drop those in the comments, because anything that relates to like tourism and whatever, I want to cover it. And that can be some spin-off things. So whatever your idea is for something that you'd like to see covered as I take this tour across Tennessee next year, then let me know. Drop that in the comments. And there is going to be some things like, there's going to be a break. If I get to go get the service dog this year, then I'm going to break and work that in, because I'll be going to Kansas, and there's some really neat things about the trip to Kansas. Like they have redone Ford Theater where Abraham Lincoln was shot. So that's actually just a really cool thing. So we'll be looking at that. There was Concordia is also one of the sites with the orphan trains, which kind of fits in a little bit with the trains that we're talking about, in the sense that it is train-related history, but it's a very sad train-related history. And basically what people had to do, mostly in the Northeast, but some in other parts, except the South. They didn't take children from the South. They wouldn't accept them. But they relocated the children, and these were usually orphans, or their families were so poor they couldn't afford to feed the kids. So they signed them over to a relief agency who put them on trains bound for the West. And those were orphan trains because the children on there were orphans, or the family was too poor to feed them. So there's that bit of history too. So I'll be pausing for the service dog class in June or August or in the fall, but otherwise we'll be going across Tennessee. So, okay. Thomas Moore Trains lives in Dawson Springs, Kentucky, next to the old Illinois Central Railroad. Well, that's really cool. That is cool. I imagine it's also kind of loud if that is still in use. Because I used to live near a railroad track, and wow, 7:02 a.m. every, I don't remember now if it was Monday or Wednesday, but it was early in the week, and it would wake us up. I could plan on that without even setting my alarm clock on those days. So loud. It was so loud. But that's okay. That's called the sound of jobs. When you are awakened at that hour by a train, just remind yourself it is the sound of jobs. Same thing if you hear a whistle going off at a factory, it's the sound of jobs. That's what I always say. And we need our jobs. So, we can't complain. Well, I guess we could complain, but it wouldn't matter. So anyway, yeah. So there used to be this part of of Tennessee down near Chattanooga where there was this Vicky paper mill, and it used to just stink to high heavens. And whenever we drove through there, we would always comment and tell ourselves that it may be stinky, but that was the stink of employment. So no matter how bad the air was, it reminded us that people are working and people had jobs. So, yeah, kind of a big deal there. I also, a few minutes ago, got a general question sent to me on Facebook Messenger. So let me get back into this, or actually not even back. Let me just get into this. Okay. Linda saw the video. Okay, so y'all, I did a video on this dog training collar, and she is asking what the range is. So I'll take a minute and answer Linda's question here. Let's see. Is this on Facebook? I'm seriously cutting back on Facebook because friends have had their account hacked, which caused my account hacked, and I will be focusing on my Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Okay, I'll look for you more on Insta and TikTok. So it's gonna be, as I go through this, a lot of it's going to be on Instagram, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, my primary places. I will be sharing some information in the group, but a lot of it's going to be, some of the other stuff. And I'm going to have articles, like I said, on my blog, but those are going to be more articles. So, yeah. I don't blame you for cutting back on Facebook. It can be a real something else to deal with sometimes. I'll just say that. Oh, you're talking about the blog. No, the blog is just like this separate thing. So it's like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, my blog. It's just so once you go, you can sign up to get notifications whenever my blog publishes. It also goes out by email to my blog subscribers. So you may want to check that option out. So it'll be there too. Yeah. Let me get back here to Linda's question. Because she just sent it on Messenger. I don't know if she's on YouTube or not, but well, she must be. She saw the video, right? So let me get back to that. Okay. All right. So, okay, I did this video on the shock collar and remote. It's an e-collar. This is different than a shock collar because it's got different settings. So there's a beat, there's vibration, and then there's shock. But the vibration has different modes. So, and it's got the little features here: USB recharger, collar, remote. This thing works up to 1,000 feet and it's waterproof. It's a really neat training tool. I did use it on Pipsie for the demo, and it worked pretty good. But with Pipsie, all I needed to do was use the beep feature, and he would turn around and look at me. Then I'd holler, come, and he would come slowly, but he would come. So that was good. Okay, here's the URL for the blog again. There you go. And if you can't click on it, or if it won't open when you click on it, I can send it to you by Facebook Messenger if you want me to. So that's an option too. But that's the URL. And then let me see. I'm gonna pull this up and see if I can tell you where the subscribe thing is. Okay, so when you pull it up, it's got advertising, search, join Facebook, and then there is a Facebook block for my page, and then it says subscribe via email. So you would just put your email in that subscription. So, and then just follow the prompts. So yeah. So going back to Linda's question, it's at that 1,000 feet range. We went to a small church playground. There is not a dog park anywhere freaking near me. So we went over. We've got special permission to use a church playground when it's available and no kids are on it, as long as I pick up after him. So we went over there and there weren't any kids. So I was able to do the demo there. I don't think it's something I necessarily have to use with him all the time, but I do think it was helpful. Since he's been crate trained, he's a little slow to come and get with the program. He's slow sometimes to walk. Like if he's running around too much, he slows down quicker, and he's a little slower to walk. But he's also slower when I call him to respond, to come. He will just kind of turn around and look at me as if to say, you really don't mean that. So I wind up calling him 2 or 3 times, which is not acceptable for a service dog. So I found out with this beep on here, it would kind of like, I don't really want to, I guess it would startle him. He would more like kind of look around going, where did this beep come from that I heard? And then he'd look around toward me and I would call him and he would come, and he responded very, very well to that. And I would, give him treats whenever he came. And sometimes I'd pet him up really, really big. And Pipsy definitely liked the treats and getting petted really big. So, but I don't think it's a training tool that I'm going to need too much. So I may put this on eBay or give it to a rescue group. I haven't decided yet. But there are dogs that I think it would be very, very good on. It's just that Pipsy already happens to be a service dog. He's just slow to come now. But if he hears me drop a prescription bottle or my keys, something like that, then he's coming in and he is on it. And I don't have to even think twice. I mean, he's there. I don't have to call him or anything. If he can hear it, it's there. When I go to the restroom, he comes right on in and lays down just like he's supposed to. So if I fall, he can open the door and go get John. So he's right there for things like that, but he's slow for come. And so my husband was trying to get him to pick up something the other day, and he just didn't want to pick it up. And that's not good either, because if he'll say no to my husband, he'll say no to me eventually. So, nobody wants to tell their service dog, 3 or 4 times, hey, get whatever. This was helpful for that, for just kind of the beep refocusing him. So, Linda, that may be more than you wanted to know. I'm not sure, but hopefully that helped. If not, back to the live stream and leave a comment down below, okay? All right. And Candy's saying, I have a nerve device to help with my muscle, nerve, spine, and joint issues. And I've been told that my device is very similar to the collar. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. That's pretty cool to know. It's a good use of technology. They can do something like that. This one did not have, like they say, don't put your fingers on it when you're going to test the shock. They actually included a tester with this that you would use, and you would just put it on this. Well, I demo in my video, but basically you just put it on these two prongs and turn it on and then hit the shock button. So yeah, not something I'm going to need all the time with him. So yeah, whoa, watch me drop this. Yeah, I'm getting out. Here's the little tester that they sent. So yeah, just something to make connection. Hey, Valerie Reese is in the house. She says she's sorry she's late. She was editing her pantry remodel for a premiere on Wednesday night at 8. Aw. I am not available Wednesday at 8, or I would tune in for that. Darn. I'll have to catch that on the replay. Yeah. I saw your zucchini bread recipe that you made. First of all, she did this using a family cookbook, and I just think that's the coolest thing, because we're losing a lot of recipes as we go through the generations, and I just love that. And the zucchini bread really looked good. Really looked good. So, yeah. She says the bread turned out awesome. It looked like it. It really did. My baking was brownie bites today. I had to fuss at my husband a little bit. I went to test the brownie bites. I'm recording this, okay, doing a video on it because I'm selling Pampered Chef, and I'm using Pampered Chef stuff in the video because that's what I've got. And I thought I'll just make a video on it. So I make all the brownie bites and come back, and I start to record. And I'm like, okay, here's the brownie bites. Now we're going to taste them. And I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, the pattern didn't look right. So I counted, and sure enough, I was missing one of the brownie bites. And I was like, husband. So I don't know if I'm going to include my fussing in that video or not. Oh, different things came up. If y'all saw my little Pampered Chef video over in our Facebook group, then you saw that one get interrupted by the dog. It's so funny. So now this one got messed up by hubby. What can I say? Okay, let's see. Oh, Candy says she can use different settings. So that's cool. Okay, so this has got different shock settings on it and different vibration settings. And that's really what it sets it apart from some of the shock collars, because the shock collars only have a set number of settings. This one does too, but it seems to have more settings, at least more than when we first got our Husky. He wasn't listening to nothing. And the trainer suggested getting a shock collar, which I didn't use very long because it bothered me. But I remember it only having 2 settings. This one's got several, but it's got the vibration and it's got the beat. And, the vibration's not going to hurt a dog. So it's a lot different than the collars. Than just the shock collar. So, yeah. Candy says she would love to see John getting in trouble. Actually, he's off camera. Okay, so I did the video. And I'm staring at this, and he's off camera. So I go to push the stop button to stop the recording, and I'm like, "Did you just eat one of my brownies?" Because this is for a thing. This is an event I've got to take food to. It's a little bake sale that a group is doing here, and I've got the brownie bites, and I was like going to just throw a couple of bites into each bag. And so I'm like, you ate one of the brownie bites. And so all of that takes place off camera, but I still may include it. He deserves it, right? Okay. And okay. Candy's has 10 settings. Okay. I'm not sure how many settings this one has. Okay, there is a level 30, whatever that is. And it tells you when not to use it. So I guess it goes from, okay, starts from level 1. So I guess there's at least 30 levels. So it sounds like there's at least 30 levels. So it may be. That's really interesting. Well, I hope it helps. I hope it works and I hope it helps. So. All right. Well, y'all, I've just noticed the time. We've been on here an hour, plus a couple of minutes because I got started late. I had every tech problem. So, okay. Valerie says she took some of the zucchini bread to the Christian radio station for the staff there. I do some volunteering there and love everyone there. That's awesome. That's awesome. They, like radio hosts, they need some loving too. So I think that's cool. Awesome. So, all right, you all, I'm going to go ahead and hop off of here. Thank you for hanging out tonight. I've appreciated everybody being here and just hanging out. So thank you all. I'm not sure yet what we'll talk about next week, but we'll see. Hopefully next week I'll have the other shawl done that y'all have encouraged me about and can show you that too. So in the meantime, y'all go out and have a great week. Hashtag be bodacious, everybody. Always, always, always. Hashtag be bodacious. Don't let life get in the way of living. And I do want to do a really quick shout out. We have over in our Facebook group, we have a member of the group that has done something that is so bodacious and so out there. It is just the coolest thing. And she is on Fashion Week, New York City, on the runway at a 50 plus gal. So I just think that's really, really cool. So if you all are over in our Facebook group and looking at some of the posts there, check that one out because I just think it's really cool. So, all right, you all, have a great week. And I'll see you Saturday, 7:30, right here. So good night, you all.